And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord.
That was the scene just minutes ago in New York. Actually, as you can see behind, at the time when we were getting the eyewitness reports of what was going on, both of the twin towers were still standing. Since then, one of them has collapsed. A 110-story building, one of the largest buildings in the world, has collapsed after an apparent terrorist attack of a plane, what believed to be a hijacked plane that was flown directly into that building. Now, we are getting word that flights that were bound for Washington, D.C. and New York have been rerouted to Canada because the air traffic has been grounded across the United States. Transport Minister David Collinette saying that they are monitoring the situation here in Canada, that we are taking security very seriously here as well. To quote the minister, that we are also here in Canada on alert for any possible attacks as well. Although it should be mentioned right now what has happened, 2 attacks. There have been in Manhattan, one plane colliding with one twin tower. 18 minutes later, oh my God. Oh my God. You can imagine the situation could get any worse. You've just seen it get worse. That was the second tower of the World Trade Center collapsing before our eyes. The second tower collapsing as rescue officials were trying to evacuate the building, trying to put the fire out that after a plane had collided there shortly before 9 o'clock this morning. Both towers at the World Trade Center, 110-story buildings, have collapsed.
What happened at the Pentagon?
I'm going to interrupt you, Senator McCain. These are the first pictures we have in. This is from Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This is where the United Airlines flight, I believe it is 176, went down. I'm sorry, I'm correcting. United Airlines 93. This was a Boeing 757 bound from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. It crashed in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, near the town of Shanksville, south of Pittsburgh. We're told about 80 miles outside of Pittsburgh in western Pennsylvania. It is not known how many passengers or crew were on board, although initial reports indicated no survivors. Again, these are the first pictures we have coming in from WTAJ there in the Pittsburgh area. United Airlines telling us earlier they have lost this flight, and they knew that it had crashed near Pittsburgh. There is a second United Airlines flight, the Boeing 767 Flight 175 bound from Boston to Los Angeles has crashed. The airline's still telling us at this point that they do not know where. We don't have information on the number of people aboard. It is possible, but not confirmed, that this would have been the second plane to hit the World Trade Center.
انهار أحد برجي مبنى مركز التجارة العالمي في نيويورك بعد أن كانت طائرة قد اصطدمت به وأدت إلى اشتعال طوابقه العليا، وبعد ذلك بدقائق اصطدمت طائرة أخرى بالبرج الثاني للمبنى الذي ما تزال النيران والدخان الكثيف ينبعثان منه. وفي غضون ذلك اندلعت النيران في البيت الأبيض ومبنى وزارة الدفاع الأمريكية البنتاغون ووزارة الخارجية، مما دفع السلطات الأمريكية إلى إخلاء العديد من المؤسسات والدوائر الحكومية، وعمت حالة من الرعب والفوضى والهلع في الولايات المتحدة. أسقطت الدفاعات الجوية العراقية البطلة صباح اليوم طائرة تجسس أمريكية ثانية في منطقة البصرة جنوب العراق. وأكد ناطق عسكري باسم قيادة الدفاع الجوي أن الطائرة كانت قادمة من أرض الكويت، وكان العدو الأمريكي يستخدمها لتأمين المعلومات لغربانه عن منشآتنا وأهدافنا الحيوية وتشكيلات دفاعنا الجوي لما تحمله هذه الطائرة من أجهزة ومعدات استطلاع حديثة ومتطورة جدا.
This was the second of the explosions. A plane comes in from the right of the picture and appears to be about to pass behind the South Tower. Next comes a huge explosion with debris showering out from the tower and down towards the streets below as the upper floors are immediately obscured by the billowing smoke. By now, the other tower, the North Tower, was already ablaze at the top as well after being struck by another plane. Eyewitnesses said the planes made no attempt to swerve as they flew towards the buildings. New Yorkers assumed they were reliving the 1993 attack on this, one of the most famous landmarks of the capitalist world, but this was to be infinitely more audacious. There was pandemonium and panic in the streets around the Trade Center. With good reason, as it turned out, for within the hour, one of the huge 110-story towers collapsed, and the surrounding area resembled a war zone.
First one we didn't see, but my coworker saw the plane hit number 2 World Trade, and we just saw people just falling, jumping out the window. So that's about it.
We were looking at the fire from a distance, and then we saw a few bodies, people just flying out the window. I saw at least four bodies coming through the window. It's a sad day.
But it seemed that with every passing minute there was news that heralded terrorist action on an even bigger scale. The reports of aircraft being hijacked, and then this, a plane crashing onto a helicopter landing pad close to the Pentagon in Washington, the heart of the US defense establishment. This was the scene afterwards. Later came reports of a car bomb outside the State Department. The White House was evacuated, and all planes across the country were grounded. But New York had not seen the last of the apocalyptic events there. The second of the World Trade Center towers collapsed, burying yet more of the city's financial district under rubble. It's still impossible to calculate the number of victims of these unbelievable, virtually simultaneous attacks. Mike Wooldridge, BBC News.
ですとか、それからバス、それからそういったものは全て運休しておりまして、街の中交通という面でもパニックの状態になっております。
その110階の貿易センタービルが倒壊したその時の様子どうでしたか。
ですね、その時私はちょうど車に乗っていたんですけれども、ドライバーがですね、大きな悲鳴を上げまして、その時外に出たんですが、もう真っ黒い煙を上げて、ビルが倒壊していく、倒壊した後でした。それを見ていた街の人なんですが、もう泣き叫んでおりまして、本当に街の中、大混乱の状態でした。
I'm from Washington. This is VOA News Now. This is a special report on VOA radio, television, and the Internet. The United States faces its gravest crisis in decades following a wave of deadly terrorist attacks against major U.S. landmarks. President Bush vows to hunt down and punish those responsible. We'll bring you the latest on the story.